Welcome to the December the 13th, 1994 taping of a very special history show. It happened in Grand Prairie, and this is going to be our 239th segment of history, and this will be playing on December the 20th. So we're pre-taping this because we have a young lady with us today that could be with us, and so we're taking advantage of that wonderful opportunity on this wonderful history tape. And we're very pleased today to welcome to the set Romy Stewart. Ms. Stewart, welcome to the set.
Thank you, Ruthie.
We're just so glad to have you here. You're a beautiful young lady and have meant so very much to the history of Grand Prairie, Texas. You've lived here a long time. Before we go into the details of your subject that you have today about your tenure at the Avion Village, we'd like for you to look out into your camera right over here and let everyone know just how long you've lived in Grand Prairie, Texas.
I have lived in Grand Prairie since 1942. I came here in February.
Now, what brought you to Grand Prairie?
Well, I had just finished another year in college, and I was looking for a job, and I put out a resume, and Ray Holder answered it and asked me to come to Avion Village.
All right, and Ray Holder was what associated with the Avion Village that's located here in Grand Prairie, a very special project.
Well, he was the manager, as we called him, or director of Avion Village, and also the attorney.
Was he the very first one?
Very first one.
Very first one, okay. And when he interviewed you, what was your assignment at Avion?
Well, my assignment was to be his assistant, and my job is to train women in cooking and buying, and we also had a nursery school, and I was qualified in that area to elect and hire a nursery school administrator to carry on the nursery for the project.
Do you remember your beginning date of working at Avion Village?
Well, yes, I do. It was a lot of fun. There were two other women in the office. We had what we termed a bookkeeper,
yes,
and a secretary.
All right.
And Mr. Holder and me. And then we had a maintenance supervisor.
All right.
So that was the administration of the area.
Had Avion Village been completely built when you came in working for them?
Yes, it was completed and filled.
Oh, it was, and
yes.
filled. Mm-hmm. Now, did you live in the village?
Yes.
Tell me where you lived.
Well, I lived in an apartment at first. That was the first thing that became available. Then as the house came up, I moved into a little house.
All right. Do you remember the street you lived on?
Music Way.
A Music Way.
Music Way.
Oh, that is wonderful. And Romy, in your tenure there, did your duties develop into more than what you were hired for?
Yes. We acted just like a city within a city. If you remember, Ken Hand used to write for the Dallas Morning News, offhand by Ken Hand. He wrote nice story about Avion Village. It said, a city within a city.
I see.
And we had all different types of clubs, organizations, and we were, we were what I call put together. We worked together, and we had our own selection committee to select people to move in there.
So y'all were just a real big Avion Village family then.
Yes, just one big family.
All right, let's look through some of your memorabilia, and let's start out with the Bridge Club. And if you'll hold that up, and let's see if our camera can zoom in on that. You can talk a little bit. Did you belong to the Bridge Club?
Oh, yes.
Now
And
we
still
that real still for our camera.
We
Oh,
still
that's
have
wonderful.
people in Grand Prairie that they have a bridge club still. They call it the Avion Village because it started, I think, in the beginning, the first bridge club.
All right. And do you think that there are any members of this bridge club that are still living there, or they may not play
bridge, but they're still there.
Yes,
all these years.
Who are they? Do you know them?
Well, this Ruth Lawrence still lives in Avion Village, and Mrs. Mildred Smith Stewart, she hasn't been there but about 48 years. The others have been there over 50 years.
Oh, that is wonderful. Okay, let's take this next picture then that we have.
This is part of a Christmas party. We had what we called a Mother's Club, who ran the operations of these clubs, we call it, and raised all the money to have extra funds to carry on.
I believe this is Billy Powers, the city commissioner.
Yes.
We've had him on our show not too long ago.
Billy Powers and his wife, and most all of these pictures.
Yes.
And
who's the gentleman next to Billy Powers?
That is Ray Holder.
Ray Holder. That was the first lawyer and executive director
Yes.
of Avion. Oh, well, I'm glad to know we have him documented then. Okay, let's take our next picture, Miss Romy.
Now this is a Christmas party that happened in 53.
1953. Oh,
And you can see how many participated.
This is a great big room. Is this room located there at the Avion
Yes.
Village? What is it called?
At that time, it was formerly a part of it was the nursery. And part of it, see, we furnished it with furniture. See our drapes? We had beautiful
Yes,
drapes,
yes.
leather furniture. And when we didn't have up between 50 and 100 people, we met in there.
Okay.
See, we had another meeting place.
That's a community room for Avion.
Yes,
then. Okay.
And we had a much larger community room.
All right. Now,
And
now who is this? Is this the Mothers Club?
yes, this
All right,
is
let's talk about the
installation of that particular year.
Look at all
of the
the
Mothers
hats.
Club. Yes, and there's two in this that are still there.
And who are those? Is that Ms. Lawrence and Ms.
Yes,
Smith? That's wonderful. And I believe you're on, if looking out into the camera, you're on probably the left-hand side.
Right in the corner. See that
Yes.
cute hat?
Yes, that is cute. That's wonderful. And this was installation.
Yes.
All right. And then what else did they do? Like something like
Well,
fun?
we did everything we could think of, from baking, selling baked goods, ceramic goods, to raise money for the operation, like our Christmas party.
Oh, I see.
And we had to have it for the kiddos. And this is a stunt we played.
That was stunt night.
That was stunt night. We put on a stunt.
A skit or a stunt. That looks like
And
a railroad crossing
It
signal.
is. We had a little stunt where you go up and ask the conductor if there's any trains coming from the north, and he'd say no. And any from the south, he'd say no. And then we'd say, well, now we can cross the railroad track.
Oh, my.
That's a family. That's a family.
Yes.
But that was...
Are there any of these people in this?
most all of these people are living around. Now, there's one that I heard was living at Decatur.
Okay.
And there's one in Dallas, and two still lives down there in the village.
All right, let's go into our next little series that we have here. I believe that's your ceramic group.
That's our Arts and Crafts Club.
And you are the instructor standing here near them.
And
Yes.
we had a kiln, Ruthie, that was installed down there where we could make our own. And I wanted to show you something that I'm very proud of. This little cup here was made at that club. One of the members made this little demitas and gave to me, and it's got her name on the bottom of it.
Is it dated by the year?
I think it is 1950 something. Has been gone for several years now.
Yes.
But I treasure that little cup.
Yes. And this was another shot of the ceramic group,
Yes.
but that's not very clear. But here's a fun thing that I'd like you to talk about this fun happening.
Well, every August 16th, we had a watermelon party.
All right.
And we would get over about 125 of black diamond melons from up on the other side of Fort Worth and put them in the cold storage. And then at 5 o'clock, we'd send a truck. Perkins Hampton Lumber Company let us use their truck to go pick them up. And we'd start cutting watermelons about 6 o'clock. And this was a contest. That you see one of these pictures is E. Carlisle Smith Sr.
All right, that's Mr. Carlisle Smith Sr.
And the other one is
Howard Hall.
Howard Hall, the late Howard Hall.
And the lady in that is Romy Stewart.
I was entering a contest of eating watermelon with the mayor of Lancaster when they walked up. They were supervising.
Yes, well, that's wonderful. And why did you say the magic date of August the 6th?
Well, the
16th.
16th, that was the date of the dedication of the first opening of the...
So every year you had a watermelon
Every year,
party.
August the 16th, we had a watermelon feast. And this one is the Mother's Board of Directors meeting one night. That's at one of our board.
Let's get a long, good shot of that, because that is a very wonderful picture of some past board members, isn't it?
And some of them, of course, a majority of them are not living here now, but or anywhere. But this is a picture I treasure very much, and I enjoyed all of the
All right.
things we did down there.
Now, here's a piece of memorabilia that is very, very exciting to me.
Yes, I
didn't know you had your own newspaper
Oh,
there.
yes.
Well, let's show the front of it first before we
Okay.
go inside.
Now, this was our Christmas edition. We had it once a week, and our people in Avion, some of the people, did all of the work going around collecting. We had a news collector, as we called it, on each street.
We just have about one more minute, so if you're going to show and tell anything in the Avion Village prop wash,
It's called
be
prop
very
wash.
gentle with this.
Yes, because it's this was December the 15th, 1953.
1953.
And then Mr. Holder and I sent out a Christmas message to all of them.
Oh, that is wonderful. In the 1 minute we have left, Romy, I'd like for you to look out into your camera and just tell them how exciting it was to be involved with Avion Village.
Well, it was very, very exciting, and it's a time that I shall never forget, and I still have so many friends. And we worked with the city, and every time we had anything in Avion Village, we had people from the city.
How long did you work there?
Oh, about 15 years.
About 15
14
years.
and a half, I believe, somewhere along there.
Well, Romy Stewart, it's just been wonderful to have you on the show to supplement our tape number 238 about Avion Village. And then we have something that's going to follow you and I. We have a wonderful interview that's going to follow this from a young lady that came all of the way from the Carolinas to be with us on the day that we gave them marker number 41. And Ruthie Jackson and Romy Stewart are going to sit by very nicely, and we're going to let Dr. Kristen tell her research on Avion Village. And thank you for being here, Romy.
Thank you, Ruth. It was a delight.